Welcome to Intelligent Artifice, the podcast that helps you become a 10x performance marketer. Intelligent Artifice explores the cutting edge of the intersection of AI, creatives, and performance marketing. Every week, we deconstruct the ad systems behind high-performing advertisers using our in-house semantic analysis system, BruteForce.ai, or we sit down with top operators redefining how advertising gets done in a generative AI world. Whether you're scaling user acquisition, leading a creative team, or building a creative engine with AI, this podcast is your unfair advantage. Intelligent Artifice is hosted by me, Shamant Rao, the founder and CEO of the boutique growth marketing agency, Rocketship HQ. You can find out more about us at rocketshiphq.com. Our services are ideal for advertisers spending over $50,000 a month on paid social. Check out the podcast website, intelligentartifice.net, or our newsletter, intelligentartifice.kit.com. Our guest today is Andrew Skrypnyk, CEO and co-founder of Promova, a leading platform for language learning. He is a Forbes 30 under 30 honoree and a serial entrepreneur with a background in software engineering and a passion for building sustainable, forward-looking businesses. I'm excited to welcome Andrew Skrypnyk to Intelligent Artifice. Andrew, welcome to the show.
Hi.
Andrew, I'm so excited to have you, not just because some of what your team does, which I think a lot of folks can follow on the Meta Ads library, and I've certainly followed that as well, which is very impressive. But equally impressive is your journey to this point, from the very early days of AI to being an AI-first company, an AI-first organization. I think a lot of what you have to share makes for great reflections on the future of work, the future of AI, and all that good stuff. And I certainly learned a lot, even during the preparation call. And I'm excited to see what you can share today with myself and our listeners.
Yeah, lovely. Let's do that. I hope I'll be a great support today.
Yeah, wonderful. For a lot of us, AI equals LLM, and you guys were dabbling with AI, with automation long before the start of LLMs, the advent of LLMs. What did some of the early workflows look like? Understandably, you did not call it AI at the time, but what did those workflows look like? What has carried over to today?
Yeah, you're completely right. Today we call AI everything that's basically machine learning systems, automations, workflows. I even think that some of the big SaaS automation workflows companies that basically automate things with scripts and algorithms, they now call themselves AI automation. In that sense, AI has been with us for decades now. And at Promova, we use AI a lot since early beginning, automating our processes, automating our campaigns, marketing campaigns, including in development, including product features. Like we have speaking feature, like pronunciation practice feature, where you can practice your pronunciation, fix your vowels, syllables, etc. And basically it's machine learning driven tech. We build our own model, we train that model, and before that it called just basically ML module in our app, and we provided this feature for our customers to practice their English, and now it's called AI.
Right.
As well as in a back office and operations, video generation, image generation. I can tell any single partner or feature or anything like entity inside our company that doesn't use in one or another way AI. However, of course, with LLMs, with large models, with new technical approaches, we took it to another level. For example, now we use large models to make new experiences to our customers that wasn't possible before, like role play lessons where you can practice your English in a written or speaking form with bot or with others, and like dialogues, basically you're speaking to a bot and you practice your language, and this is LLM. Also our support operations as well, we automated a lot on that side, and etc. Content generation, content recommendations. It's a very powerful feature to when you can fit a small model with user data context, not private data, but like what they're interested in, and then ask it to generate lessons and to generate curriculum to them. So in that sense, over the last couple of years, it took to like just pushed it to another level.
That is interesting. So what I also find fascinating is you started a lot of this before LLMs really burst on the scene. I'm also curious, you said you had ML models to help users practice English. Can you tell me more about how that worked? Because it seems so much easier with LLMs today, but how did this ML models work behind the scenes?
LLMs is
Right,
chat-based tool,
right.
and over voice command, so you can talk with your own voice. But in the end, it tokens and it words and it sequence of words and predictions, and etc.
Yeah,
Our ML model to assess your pronunciation skills is focusing on not not understanding what you said, but
right,
the quality of the
right,
sound. And
right.
for that, you need machine learning model that can assess the sound, the waves. And the LLMs can do that. They just receive the voice, turn this voice to
Yeah,
words, and words then to tokens, and etc. etc. So we use that model not just for English, but for Spanish, actually German and French, I believe.
yeah,
You
yeah,
have four different languages, and for English we have four different accents like British, American, Australian, etc.
yeah.
With even in today's world, a lot of the companies like us or others, they still use a lot machine learning models for specific use cases that require specific needs. For example, as ours, we need to assess vowel, the sound, the
Right.
pronunciation. For that, machine learning models took place.
Understood. Understood. Yeah. And I think I can relate. I can understand also because I've been writing some code. Again, I'm not a pro by any means, but I have seen a lot of Python libraries that can transcribe and evaluate the quality of sound. And it sounds like what you built is a more advanced version of registering the sound, evaluating the quality of sound. And I would think that if you use an LLM, it would actually be more expensive because you're paying much more in terms of API credits for that same task, right? Or did
Yeah.
I misunderstand that?
Honestly, I
Yeah.
never tried. I believe maybe my team tried, but I never tried to play and assess vowel sound with LLMs like
Okay.
OpenAI and Topic. But I honestly, from maybe I'm wrong, and comment, send me a feedback in the comment section or something. But I'm not sure it can do that.
Right.
So
Right.
it's from my understanding, how does it work? It works the other way
Right.
around, and it can't assess the pronunciation. Maybe I'm
Yeah.
wrong. So it's
Yeah.
not about the cost; it's about the feature.
I hear you. Yeah. And to switch gears a bit, you were doing a lot of these ML-based models a couple of years ago, before ChatGPT, before LLMs. What was your experience with GPT for the first time? Talk to me about it. What did you ask it to do? What was most striking about its potential?
First time I ever heard about ChatGPT 3, it was probably 2017, 16, 17, or something around that era. And my good friend of mine, he showcased me, he had an access to early betas, like closed betas about that. And he showed me the result of it and how does it work. And I was like, wow, that was like mind blowing at that time. And it was like just peanuts of what we've seen
Yeah.
on release date. After that, I started to look carefully about everything about around. And when they released, and then the 2021, 22, late 21 to early 22, when they released a public release for OpenAI, ChatGPT 3.5, the first things I tried and played with many different things, but first major thing I asked it to generate a company strategy for next year. And basically, I prompted it with some of the company data, like not financial, but the stage, the product, the competitors field. So I prompted it with lots of data and asked it, like, you act as a CEO of this company and you're in charge of the growth, in charge of the success, came up with the strategy that's can help to achieve these goals and basically build the plan how to do that. And it came up with a really great and coherent strategy. I use it as is for that year. And some of the ideas was really not, I would say not dumb, but low-hanging fruits. Basically, everybody thought about them. So it wasn't something new, but some of them was actually nice ideas that helped me to brainstorm some new ideas about the product and to look at it from different angle. and it was quite helpful in a way.
Yeah, interesting. Yeah, and I didn't know GPT existed in 2016 to 17. It's probably a very early version.
Yeah, yeah,
Uh,
it should be 17 or something around that era.
yeah, but I also remember seeing the 2023, 24 when it seemed incredible, even though by today's standards it was probably very primitive and ancient. And when you asked GPT to give you a company strategy, I'm curious what stood out to you, right? Because you're clearly also wanting to think about the company strategy manually. So, did it come up with any ideas that you felt like I would never have thought about XYZ? Is there anything that comes to mind?
Yes. So as I said, what was impressive, even though 90% of it was like, oh, I could have came up with this myself,
Yeah,
it gives you idea that at least 90% of that quality was like human quality, like the CEO
right,
quality. So
right.
even though it didn't come up with anything better than myself,
Yeah,
it was gave you idea that actually on that stage it's enough to at least match your ideas. So
yeah,
it wasn't bad. It was like just positive signal that even if that level of data that can generate you at that stage,
yeah,
you can imagine what's going to be like in the incoming future, in coming years. Majority of it wasn't like mind blowing, but a couple of
yeah.
ideas was actually, again, it was 2 years ago. I barely can remember exact ideas, but few of them was, yeah, one of features I remember, we ignored it for a couple of years, the community feature. And then we actually removed it from the app because it was like, we tested it with the very base way, and it generated some of the traction, but it doesn't generate the retention.
Yeah.
And that's why, for that reason, we decided to remove it. But it's still in that strategy. It asked it to basically implement community features, but it proposed a few ideas how to do that, in which way. So it's not going to be just dumb idea, like just dumb community, but it proposed few following steps and deeper steps. And the beauty of it, you can ask it like why you propose it.
Right.
Can you generate like more? Can you add more data? Can you come up with some other ideas around that data? So it was great tool to brainstorm a mirror,
Yeah.
and that was breakthrough moment when I was like, okay, now I have a tool that I can brainstorm ideas with
Yeah.
myself, but you have somebody in the room to bounce back those ideas. So that
Yeah.
was nice.
Yeah, that's very interesting. And I can also relate to that because I've spoken to a number of people who use GPT as a therapist. And when I talk to them, the reflection is not that it's mind blowing. It's very similar to what you said. It does not give you mind blowing ideas, but it gives you a mirror which you would never have had.
Yeah.
And having those facts in front of you makes it very clarifying, just in the way you described, because the community feature, you're like, oh, yes, it's an idea, but I'm not really thinking about it. But when you have it being described very clearly, it is easier to act on it. And I think that's one of the very powerful things about
Well,
LLMs today.
yeah.
Right.
What I think after those years of experience with LLMs and after my recent experience, I understood that LLM, so we expect from LLMs basically artificial intelligence, like superhuman intelligence level of data, but basically it's trained on data that we produce as a
Yes.
humanity, internet. So in kind of way, it limited
Yeah.
by this data. But
Yeah.
what you can do, people as humans, why we love to work, collaborate with other humans, because it gave us their experience, it gave us their perception, and through their experience, through their perception, through their view on the problem, you can have the insights like, oh, I never thought about it. Just said something that I wasn't thinking about. And with LLM, you can replicate it. You can say, now you please act as a marketing director, or now act
Yeah.
as a coffee barista, or now act as a workshop handyman, and ask me questions as a CEO, or challenge me as a CEO of like tech company.
Yeah.
Or one of the use cases that I heard many teams use, it's prompt LLM as a user and say, now here's your profile, and
Yeah.
act as this persona, and user interview this persona, and they're gonna give you some answers. And because they trained on data that basically people post online
Right.
or in some media, it's gonna give you those insights that you never thought about it. So it's not gonna give you mind-blowing ideas about yourself because as a human it's just limited, but it's gonna give you other opinions, like other
Yeah.
experiences. And that's where it's really powerful. And but the next stage of powerfulity and LLMs, it's actually agents. So actual automation. I use Comet more and more frequently in recent times. I try to use it as my assistant, like just regular assistant, and ask it to please provide me this research or do that for me, for myself, or research on that. I actually found the apartments. I just recently moved to new apartments, and big help to research and finding new apartments for myself was Comet. I prompted very well, and as a multi-language, so it acted as a multi-language model, but the multi-model tool thing, because it used like Google Sheets, it used different searches, image analysis, etc., etc., etc. And it, as a complex tool, it gave me results I need. So those complex solutions, complex tasks, you have to learn how to be creative about agents because basically it's a tool, it's a calculator, it's a simple tool, but it can be very powerful if you use it creatively, in my opinion.
Yeah. And especially the multimodal capabilities can be incredible.
Yeah.
We've used it for home planning as well. Interestingly, we thought about it because we saw some home planning apps. We were like, maybe we should just use the native LLMs to do home planning. And it is quite incredible how you can use it.
And about that, I think there is a really a good topic about that to talk about. For example, multi-language models. The recent use case about, and again, it's not just very work-related stuff, but it's very helpful personally. I try to find new location around San Francisco City to where I want to work from, inspirational work, a nice view, oceanside view, or a mountains view or something. And I need warm place because it's windy out there. So ask to find me a location, but because I'm new to the city, I've been living here just less than a year. I asked it to put on a map, and beauty of it, it's automatically put me
Yeah.
all of those locations on the map, and I can see clearly what suits me or not. And home, yeah, of course, many of those apps they are basically wrapper
Yeah.
or GPT, but
Yeah.
the thing is, most of the people they need special apps. They're not so like proficient with
Yeah.
computers, with mobile apps. They prefer special curated apps for specific needs because, yeah, ChatGPT as an OpenAI company, they have this general model, yeah, for everything. And in theory, they can do everything. But what we
Yeah.
see with even with Apple can do apps themselves
Sure.
on a
Sure.
large large scale, but we still see that there is other competitors who focus on that topic, on that niche, on that user pain, then they can came up with better solutions and with better ideas.
Yeah.
And for those reasons alone, I believe that, yeah, of course, you can do things through ChatGPT, but it's not gonna there's still room, like lots of room for other B2C companies to come up with the
Yeah.
tailored solutions. And in terms of like evolution of LLMs, I believe we're yet to hit boom of application layer, like
Right.
application appliance for solutions. So maybe next 2, 3, 5, whatever years is going to be like Apple's App Store golden era,
Yeah.
early
Yeah.
2008 till 2018,
Yeah.
where we have those golden era of apps. So it yet to
Yeah.
come for
Yeah.
to us what we can accomplish with agents, with AI apps, etc., etc.
Sure. Yeah. We certainly live in very interesting times, which is why I'm diving in as much as I can. You are as well. Yeah. To switch gears a bit, right? You talked about your pronunciation feature, which is still based on ML models primarily. You have other features like checking grammar, writing, speaking practice. How have you thought about which ones should use AI or LLMs, or which ones should use ML or programming logic that is not AI based? How do you think about these?
My experience in engineering experience, I always dream of became a tech entrepreneur, but being tech entrepreneur, I knew that I have to have a technical background. For that reasons, I studied engineering, software engineering in school and in my uni. I have master's degree in engineering, software engineering, and then I switched it to tech entrepreneurship mindset. Wait. So with that, it was quite easily to understood that for very basic quizzes inside our app, we just need to use code, like algorithmic approach. We don't need machine learning models or something. We don't need to guess and predict this answer correct or not. We just can say, yeah, it was correct or not, translate the word or choose the right answer from those four options and stuff. For more complex solutions like pronunciation, speaking, etc., which is more complex. We have to use machine learning models because at the time there was no large machine models yet released. It was early 2020. And again, even today, they can't do any feature set. They have large options of possibilities, those models, but still in some way they are limited of what they can do. And then everything that comes with the text, assessing text, practicing, writing, practicing grammar, etc. It's way easier to go and work with large or like LLM models. Basically, when they released, we started to brainstorm what we can do, what the ideas we can came up, in which ways we can use them. A couple of ideas was our product managers or senior leadership team came up with some of the ideas. We look at on competitive market to our competitors. We saw what they are doing, what the adoption of those features. Let's say some of the ideas was nice, some of them not the ideas, but the users love those ideas or not. They use them or not. And it gave us also feedback from the market to understand what we should or would do in our app. And then iteration, we released some of the fake door tests. We test them, we gather idea from them and data from them. Then we released some MVP beta features. Then we released some of the first public release features that was limited in functionality, but gave us data to our next feature releases and then iterate on those, etc., etc. It's quite basic approach for any modern startup to test the ideas. And then we ask users about feedback. We hear to their feedback and some of the features they use for in very strange ways. We never thought they're gonna use it. So we have to learn from that as well. That's I don't see there any like insights or breakthrough moment that nobody know or heard in our industry. Pretty much everything standardized.
Yeah, and I know you talked briefly about your customer support team. What was your experience of automating a lot of the customer support? And what was surprising?
One of the low-hanging fruit, obviously, in business operations and business management, when we're talking about AI, it's support. With LLMs, because LLM basically can mimic natural language way of talking and speaking and texting, you can ask it to become your support agent and replace your human support. And in that sense, it's obviously first industry and first niche across all of the companies, across all of the tech companies, and not just tech companies that we've seen layoffs or cutting the human workforce. It's a support. And we started from here as well. Before that, we had 24/7 all human support, zero bots, zero automations. The only automations we used in our support is to check rule-based, to segment support tickets based on some keywords and tag them. And then a support agent, like real person, can look through this data and quickly assess what they're going to do with this ticket. And that was it. So basically 4, 5, 6 years we worked with humans and we received like more than I thought we're going to receive. But even though it was all the human support, only like real people involved, we received number of, I wouldn't say like dozens, like thousands or something. I never count the exact number, but like visible amount of feedbacks that we have bots and there is no human support. You can talk to human. And it was surprising to me how come, but the if you dig it deeper, the reason behind is because we have large number of users that like user base, and they generate like decent amount of support tickets. We have to automate scripts that real agents gonna use to reply to those users, even though, so basically real agents, but they use scripts to reply to incoming messages. It seems to end user as a bot based support. And when we
Right.
switch over to AI support, AI LLM support, basically we use a service that receive our support message, and they put into context our knowledge base data about our product, about our features, about anything related to the company, and not including user data, of course. And they also receive this ticket, and they also receive some of the rules how to act and what to do with certain tickets. In the end, it generates the text, and this text, like this answer, is basically generated, curated, and personalized for this specific use case, for this specific person. And after a couple of months testing this new approach, the amount of tickets, again, not numbers, we never tag them, but visible amount of tickets and answers that people say, they say more nice things about our AI based support than about our humans. And amount of tickets that there is no humans is actually decreased. Amount of good replies, oh, thank you for your support, thank you for your help, thank you for answering me this nice way, it's actually increased. And the key to it is because you wanted to automate, you want to help real human make their job easily. For that reason, you use scripts and script-based approach versus AI can generate text on air. It completely changed the picture. And as a business, of course, we cut our costs, we cut some of our support team staff, like people, and our overall expenses to support decreased. But revenue from support tickets increased because more people, instead of canceling or instead of asking for a refund, they now we call it PAM, our support engine PAM. She resolved their problems, she resolved their issues, and we actually see that revenue from support is actually increased. The total ROI on that activity is way better than we thought.
Yeah, in that way, having an AI come up with an answer is better than a human come up with a script, because the AI is more personalized. The AI can empathize more rather than a human with a script. That is so interesting. And again, staying on the theme of how AI is used across your different teams, it's easy to say, hey, we haven't mandated to use AI. Also, since you guys are a language product, you guys are not an AI only product, right? You're using AI for the language product. So how do you make sure the team is actually empowered to use AI, to build using AI in all the day-to-day process?
Very challenging question and a very tough one. Honestly, as a founder and as a CEO, I would say last year I wasn't pushing my team enough to use AI and to use tools. And now we are like catching up with and trying to pace with the market this year, like accordingly. For that reasons, basically, we are pretty much new in and onto the scene. However, we use a lot. Engineering department use it, of course, a lot. So the engineers, developers, QAs, they use not just AI, but tools for code generation, for automation, they play a lot with the tools that help you to convert task requirements, product requirements to actual code. So instead of coding themselves feature, they now try to build the pipelines that where inputs are coming from product managers, and this pipeline build and product user facing feature through all of the stages, through design, through architect, to development, through tests, through release. That we are working a lot on engineering and product side. We started to use new tools for like new approaches for new releases. We try to use design generation, new workflows. So you have like basically Promova, and Promova is, I would say, like old code base, old approach. And there is a new things that we test, and those new things we try to use only new tech, AI tool, AI agents, AI generation. So this is on the development side. On a support side, as I said, we use AI for automation. On back office side, we use AI, LLMs, and different tools for content generation, for image generation. And it's not, the idea and the goal is not to replace employees or humans there, but to help them produce more educational content for the same amount of resource that they have. Because I believe basically we kind of content-based app, and we need a lot of content and a lot of hyper-personalized content to serve our users. And for that reasons, we actually need more and more content. And LLMs help us not to reduce amount of people, but to produce more content. And here you can play with the video, you can play with audio, text, images, courses, curriculums, lessons, etc., etc. So how they use it? They use tools themselves. They also collaborate with developers to develop new tools from scratch. So there is no one, let's say, there is no one approach because it's very new. Everything is very new, and we try to fight it from different angles. So there is no one policy how to approach this. There is one policy like research, and eventually, if something repeatedly work on, then we try to make it work on scale and standardize it across the company. Then there is other tools. HR department, we're trying to use tools and LLMs for helping us assess like not product reviews, but like personnel reviews. If you come on feedbacks from the employees about the company, every 6 months we have, forget how it's called, but basically we gather feedbacks from once a year, and every 6 months we gather feedbacks from the company, from the employees about the company. After probation periods, you gather feedbacks from newcomers and colleagues who work with those newcomers. So there's a lots of text work, text generation, text work that have to be assessed, that have to be worked, etc. And used there as well. And the last but not least, of course, like knowledge-based sharing. We use Notion. We try to use our own solutions, but gladly and thankfully there is a great solutions like Notion AI, basically that you feed Notion with your data, product data, and company data, and then it gives you insights. Notion AI can connect you to the Slack connections, GitHub connections, and set it so it can provide you with the data and insights about the company performance, about the features, etc., etc. So it's way easier now to get an access and keep posted and be updated on things.
Right.
In addition to that, we're building pipeline that help leadership team to assess the business. To that, we actually need to connect our financial data to some of the secure data, and this have to be secured. So it's like third, very different path and track and tool set. So there's lots of things, and to build something from scratch, when you build new company and you establish new processes, it's one thing to rebuild the existing company that was born in the pre-LLM era, and now have to leverage everything. It's totally different thing, and it requires time. So yeah, we'll see how it's gonna roll out, but there is lots of ways, and we learn every day that someone use that for a new use case, how they operate and manage company, and we like, oh gosh, we need to apply this for our company as well. So there is lots of things that's going on.
Yeah, that's so impressive. And as you briefly said, you guys started in the pre-LLM era and adapted a lot of this, and that's been what's impressive. And how do you think about this for non-technical team members that aren't natively comfortable with AI? And just as importantly, right? So, with some of the non-technical team members, how do you ensure there's clear expectations and accountability?
Well, and I didn't mention the last question. I didn't mention marketing, of course. And marketing is campaign management, campaign analysis, creative analysis, everything that automation and how to generate creatives on scale, upload them to the advertisement systems, then run them, analyze them, etc., etc., etc. So on the marketing side, there is tons of work that we are doing with LMs as well. Touching your question about non-engineering, look, in my company, there is more non-engineering actually develop employees than engineering employees, and there is no. We try to build a culture. There is no difference. LLMs doesn't mean engineering; it means tool. Facebook Manager or Facebook Ads Manager, whenever like user acquisition manager or creative manager, they work with Facebook Ads Manager. They doesn't treat it as a engineering tool. So
yeah.
same way with the LLMs, with the not LLMs but wrappers over LLMs. It's not engineering tool. It's your daily tool. Google Sheets, it's not engineering tool. It can be, because it have scripts, of course.
Yeah.
But in general, it's not engineering. I believe that leading by example, showing the examples how you can use it, providing use cases, like real use cases connected to their daily operations, having one of the persons like leading a leader in the company that responsible or take initiative on adopting AI tools in the company is really crucial. So basically have person who really into it could or should or might have engineering background, but it's not like a requirement. And this person can build simple tools. It can build examples and showcase the other non-engineering members or people who not adopted AI in their daily jobs. Basically showcase, look, I can do that with AI 10 times faster than you're doing this without. And to use it, please follow my steps. You're going to be 10 times more productive. Let's say you have to educate people, basically. Myself, I remember that in university, in my school, like 7th grade, whatever, 5th grade, we learn during classes, we learn how to use Excel. We learn how to use Google Sheets. Same. Basically, nowadays, sure they teach how to use LLMs, or I hope they use they teach how to use LLMs in schools. The same, we have to teach our employees how to use those tools. But the problem is we have to learn ourselves first.
Right.
And then teach tomorrow our employees. So double work for us. But if you're not doing this, you're done.
Yeah.
In 5 to 3 to 5 whatever years, you're done.
Yeah, you're right. That guidance, that leadership needs to come from the top. And as a leader, you're the one who's leading and you're showing the way. Senior people are the ones who need to show the way. And that's definitely that's a recurring theme I hear as well when I talk to leaders and CEOs as well. Yeah. Andrew, I know we're coming up on time. This has been incredibly far-ranging. Thank you for opening everything up about and sharing in so much detail. I've certainly learned so much about how you really used AI across your team, especially in transforming it from a pre-LLM company to a post-LLM one. And I'm excited to release it to the world. So this is perhaps a good place for us to wrap. But before we do, can you tell people how they can find out more about you, the work you do, your company, and anything else you might want to share?
Thank you. Thank you again for your time. Thank you for this incredible talk and your questions. How you can find me, I goes for Andrew Will Skrypnyk online, Instagram, Facebook, LinkedIn, email, andrew@promova.com. I run the company Promova. It's a language learning platform where we help people learn languages. I very active in extreme sports, kite surfing, snowboarding. I'm burner. My hobbies, golf as well. So if you want to join here in SF, some of the hobbies, please let's do. Yeah.
Excellent. Yeah. Thank you for sharing. Thank you for your time. Yeah, I'm excited to release this to the world.
Thank you. Bye.